Hello, hello,
Good
hello.
morning!
No, it's the evening. It's the evening. Thank God it is the evening. Also,
Good morning
you could
to our
my
daily
shoulder.
morning show. Welcome to the show that happens every morning, every second Thursday in the evening time.
In the evening time.
People find our schedule confusing, Declan. I don't see the problem.
I mean, look out the window. Look at a clock.
Mm-hmm.
It is
Yep.
that amount of good right now. So good morning, evening, afternoon, good tomorrow, good yesterday.
Good when you cut home after school and you have a nap because you're kind of tired and you wake up and you're like, what time is it? And it's like 12 minutes past 6. Good one of those.
Yeah, that's the good kind. That's the good kind. Not the, oh God, it's 9 and I haven't done any homework and I'm starving.
Yeah, we don't wish you one of those.
Which you don't want. Chat is, we've got good present moment to you all. Unless you're coming to us from the future.
Yeah, fuck those VOD people.
Well, I'll have to bleep that out afterwards.
Welcome from the future.
I think, Ben, do you want to start us off? Do you want to do some introductions?
Welcome to Ben and Declan On A Roll, our tabletop talk show. Sort of half the vibes of an evening late night talk show, half the vibes of a morning wake up talk show. It's up to you.
All the
how you feel.
bitterness of Ben is much louder than Declan. That's a given. That's
true.
That's just
yeah.
That is.
I can talk quieter.
No, I can talk louder. I can boost my mic a little bit. That might help. Also, it could be the fact that Thursday is one of my hectic days in work. So I may have been shouting at people all day. Shouting words of encouragement and love in case any of them are watching.
Whereas I work from home, so you're the first person I've talked to all day.
Oh.
That's not true. I've been on calls, but you're the first person I've wanted to talk to all day.
Oh, okay, well, that's nice. That I will take. That I would appreciate. More so, Declan is hard to hear. Then Declan needs to push his voice a little bit, methinks. So I will.
While Declan does that, I'll introduce you to myself. My name is Ben. You might know me from Homebrew Quest, which was this tipsy tabletop campaign that we ran. Finished up just about a year ago, but we're on long hiatus. We're gonna make you miss us before we come back because that's a good way to do it. But you also might know me from Romancing the Dungeon and games that Declan runs, and from About the Place and from live. So happy to be here. Happy to be one of the hosts of this show. Declan?
Oh, I don't know. You left me in charge of the tech. This is all your fault. When we can afford a producer, we will have an actual producer. Until then, I'm Declan, and I'm the other half of Ben and Declan on a roll. And Techlan. Oh my! Why have we not got this? Why have we not?
We need a Techlan.
Yeah, we have a Declan.
Yeah.
We need a Techlan. We need a Hecklin. No, I'm the Hecklin.
Oh, we need a Hecklin.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, outside of my many roles as current producer, I am one of the founders of D8 Dungeon and the Fecklin. For Declan is mad. Fecklin. Oh, am I one of the like the Mr. Men? Is that what I am? Am I one of the Mr. Men? It's like just many versions of me. We'll pay good
collect
money.
them all. It has just like a cat that says like I've completed my Fecklin library.
I'm the DM for Romancing the Dungeon, Saving Grace, Beyond Horizon's Edge, one of the DMs for Random DMs, as well as a lot of the other one-shots and doohickeys. And I've been doing this for far too long, but I can't stop and no one can make me.
We have word here from one of our researchers that you're also one of the most handsomest DMs in Ireland. I think we need to verify that, but I would say our research is pretty in-depth.
And look, that researcher did actually happen to get a raise in around the time of that work coming into us here in the production office. But that is purely coincidental, and I didn't write that myself. So
no, we can release those emails. They'll be heavily protected. We can't release them. Heavily.
Declan,
barely even a logo. But welcome to On A Roll. Today, because it's our very first On A Roll, we are going to talk about new beginnings, whether that's starting a new campaign, starting to play with new players, beginning creating a new character, dipping into new systems, or even just starting a new stream and a new show on that stream. Everything new we're going to talk about. Old news.
Out with the old. Out with it. New news.
Out with the old. New news. In the nudes.
Well, you can't see the bottom half, so
true.
That's for the OnlyFans / Patreon.
Yes. You would have to be a fan to watch that.
My only fan.
Only for fans.
But yeah, Ben is 100% spot on. This is something brand new for both of us. Although I think for me personally, when we first started talking about this show, I as much as I like late time talk shows and those early morning, I'm all about that like mid afternoon house husband, loose women, awful daytime TV vibes. That is my fight. So I think I'm just gonna start fighting you randomly on certain topics, Ben, just for
fair.
Just for that. But we are all about trying new things and playing new systems and new mechanics. And we are always, and I'm just going to drop this in here, always open to new collaborations as well. So if you are out there, you are a DM, or you are, yes, loose women, get the jello. Yeah, oh my God. That's for our bonus episode, our 100 episode. Ben and I will obviously eat jello because that's what you want. Yeah, which neither of us actually can eat for dietary reasons.
I don't think that's what they use the jello for, Declan, but we'll talk about that off stream.
Okay. Fair enough. But speaking of collaborations and new games and new players and new campaigns, Ben, you spoke with the team over at Emerald Collective.
Yes, I did.
Some new stuff that they're doing.
Yeah, I met up with them and I had a little chat. This will be first of many special guest appearances on this show. Like Declan was saying, if you want to be here, you can. We're easily accessible. In fact, you will get to something. Remind me of that later, but we will tell you where to find us this weekend. Not in a weird way. So we're being there for legitimate reasons.
Jello.
Yes, but after the interview, we'll tell you where. If you're watching this and you're part of the Irish tabletop space, most likely, or there's a high chance you'll also be where we are this weekend. So come find us, say hello, and we can talk about being on a roll with you. But without further, it doesn't work with this. I used to say without further ado is my little mental segue for Homebrew. But I think it's time to talk to the past while looking towards the future and cut to my interview with the gang from Emerald Collective. A very special On A Roll welcome to Ben, Ryan, and Dave from the Emerald Collective. Welcome to the show, guys. Lovely to have you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's different to be up early this early.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Ooh, you gotta wake up pretty early to get one over on us at On A Roll.
Yeah. Or just drinking water this morning.
Well, I got a cup of Joe here in front of me.
Yeah.
To start the
Green
day.
tea.
Lovely. Ryan, what do you? Any beverage of choice in the morning?
I've got one that I'm going to cover so that you don't get any. Yeah.
Fair. Speaking of new beginnings, you've learned how we all start our day, but let's get to the meat of the things. Whether it's campaigns, new characters, starting a new system, or indeed starting a new collective, which is why we have the Emerald Collective here today as our special guests. Dave, we'll start with you with a question. I'd love to know more about what it was like for you starting a new channel and then starting all the streams that have come with the Emerald Collective.
Yeah, so starting a new channel, I think it wasn't as difficult, I think, for us because we were a group anyway. We were a group of streamers on another channel, and we had our own sort of relationships built and forged there, which was good. It was a good start. So that was a bit of a step forward for us. We just found a new home online, just built our channels and stuff like that. So I think first and foremost, we've always been about our sort of streaming community. So I think the logical first step in my eyes was to build the Discord community and then move on to the socials and stuff like that. So yeah, I think your first step is to find your people and bring them with you.
Nice. That's lovely. And if 2's company, 3 is a crowd, how many people does it take, speaking of people, to start a collective?
Well, I think roughly up in and around 10 DMs, I think, is where we started with. And then a lot of viewers came over, regular viewers and stuff like that, followed us. But I mean, roughly
Christian,
about 10, Ben.
Technomancer, if we're, lots about 10, yeah.
About 10, I think, yeah. And we'd be lost if it wasn't for Christian, because well, we're all very creative people. Some of us aren't great at the old OBS and other.
Well, much like this,
Ryan
somebody sends a link, Skype, Zoom, whatever. I click, and then it's, that's
the magic happens behind the curtain.
Just hand it to me, and I go, yeah, okay.
Basically, it takes one techno wizard and a bunch of idiots to run the games. What it is.
Absolutely.
That's it. How many DMs does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, one techno wizard.
Yeah, exactly.
It depends on the role for it.
Oh.
Yeah, it requires a DC 20 intelligence check.
Hopefully.
You cannot use the help action.
Qualified for. Yeah.
Yeah, it is no group checks here. It takes one person, and that one person is Christian, who I've had the pleasure of being on streams with before, and yes, incredible skills. So it's not a lot like games, a lot like sessions. It's not necessarily on one person, but one person, usually the DM or GM, will bring the bulk of the skill to the table with them. If someone was looking to get involved, if they had an idea for a new campaign, or if they had an idea for a new character they want to play, like, where would they go if they were looking to get involved with the Emerald Collective?
I think step one is definitely just find us on Discord, because we run beginner games. We run we've a sort of a process that has worked for us for the last while, and as much as we'll get new people on, we'll try them as a player in the one shot if it's something they're into, and if it's something we're feeling, then we'll sort of go, hey, look, that was really good. Do you ever think of running your own one shot? And then we'll give them the opportunity, give them the help if they need it. If they don't, then we'll just go, hey, let's go and see about that. And then if the one shot's something that they're happy with, then we might talk to them about doing a mini campaign and then maybe a full campaign. So jump into the community and jump into the Discord and hang out, talk about what you're into, especially if you're into stuff that isn't 5e. And I mean, if you're into 5e, cool, like run whatever you want, but we're eager to try new systems. And I think I'm going to be running Paranoia soon. Ryan, I think you're going to look at Candela. I think Ben's looking at was it Shadow Dark
tomorrow. Well, depending on when this will probably actually release after I've already started Shadow Dark, because it is tomorrow. But, we'll see. But yeah, the looking for game channel as well. Even not on stream, there's a lot of people running games, and maybe one of the GMs from the stream might be running just like a private one shot or something, as well. There's community game nights, which is the non TTRPG, board
a lot of
games
Jackbox.
A lot of Jackbox, yeah.
They are usually kind of 18 plus, though, just to say.
Cannot be held responsible for Linda.
Yeah, the robot rap-out was my favorite one.
Yeah.
And obviously, people looking to come over to our Discord, though, because sometimes the Discord links and stuff are hard to find. Of course, you can find us on Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, that kind of stuff. That usually has the link tree that gets you into the Discord and stuff. So there's always ways to come and find us, for sure. There's plenty of different places. As for the one-shots and stuff like that, that's how I started as well. I'm now running my own campaign, but mine was just a one-shot done at Halloween 2 years ago. Never DM'd before, did that. Quite a few people kept messaging me over the years, please run a follow-up. So I ran a follow-up to that, and then the campaign was off the back of that. So it's easy to get involved, and we've had loads of people do one-shots for us, like Brett, like John. There's loads of people that have done them. So yeah, if you're interested in doing it, we'll give you the space to do it if we can. So come and see us.
Yeah, I think you put on a really important thing there, which is depending on your level, there's an entry point every step of the way, whether it's just chatting to people, just getting advice in the Discord, joining in the non-streamed if you're uncomfortable on camera, or kind of the sense in the public space. There's non-stream games, and then there's stream games. And sorry, other Ben, we talked at the same time, which I can only assume it's a Ben thing.
Yeah, I believe it's some sort of psychic connection happening here. Well, again, it's just on the kind of beginner point, as you said, Ryan, you'd never DM'd, and similarly, we have had players, on stream, very, very brave of them, first time they'd ever played, D&D. So it's definitely not, just because you are a newbie at something, or you're even just interested. I mean, like this, that's it. I get excited. I think we all do. Showing someone the game, it's part of another reason you might want to run a new system, because you're like, here, look at this thing, look at this weird thing that I found. It's cool.
Especially with newbies, like just that moment where they're like, they ask, can I do this? And when you see that moment where they're like, I can pretty much do anything in this game, and it's moment when you give that to a new player. It's one of my favorite things about TTRPGs.
That it's not a video game. There's not a Well, I mean, obviously there has some similarities, but there's not like it's like you can do anything. It's not.
Yeah,
I think you've hit on a really lovely segue into our next question, which is whether you're a new player or even starting a new system. That sense of freshness, that sense of newness. Everyone's coming in on the same page. And Ryan, we were chatting a little bit before the interview started, and I was wondering if you had any advice you would give to GMs and players when either kicking off a new campaign or when jumping into a new system, or even for a one shot, like sitting down at a new table with people. Is there something that you go to, rules you might keep in your own head and go, you know what, these are my 3 guidelines, and if I keep these in mind, I'm going to have a good time?
Okay, so if I had to give you 3 kind of guidelines, first one is, as hard as it might sound, don't be shy. If you have an idea to do something in a game, like Dave said, like there's so many things possible. Like, so if you're sitting there and I don't know, they're trying to work out this puzzle and you're like, oh, well, maybe this is the answer, but you're a bit shy and don't want to say it. Absolutely say it. It might be the most stupidest thing in the world, but it might be the thing that your DM's actually done to make the puzzle work, because he's trying to catch you out, So like, say the stupid stuff, even if it doesn't work, it's going to be funny as hell. And everyone at the table is going to enjoy it regardless, So first thing I'd say is don't be shy. Second thing I'd say is maybe to be a GM, just if you've got a story in your head, like I know for me personally, like I had that story in my head that I just could not get rid of. It wouldn't leave me alone. My partner bought me a dictaphone because I was literally waking up in the middle of the night, trying to find bits of paper to scribble bits down to go towards this campaign. And she was just like, look, for God's sake, here's a dictaphone, just speak into it and then check it in the morning, kind of thing. If you've got that story and you want to tell it, the system, anyone will help you work out the system. We're here, like we'll help you work out the systems that goes best for it, whether it's Call of Cthulhu, whether it's D&D 5e, once it's maybe Shadow Dark, once Ben's got kind of more of an idea of how it runs, that kind of stuff. Like people are there to help you run the system. If you've got that story, absolutely bloody tell it, 100%. As for the third bit of advice, the only thing I could really say is have fun. Like we have stupid amounts of fun. The story, it will get told. There will be times when it gets stressful, where it gets serious, where it gets intense, where you don't know what the hell is going on. But that's all still fun. It can be fun if you're with people that are also enjoying that space with you. And there's a lot of us. I wanted to play D&D since I was a teenager, but most of my friends when I was a kid were mostly into Warhammer. Now, not that I don't like Warhammer, I do, but I wanted to play D&D and I never got into it until I was into my 30s. And I remember when my DM first said to me, like, look, I'm thinking about running this game. Do you want to join in? I was like, hell yeah. And it's the best choice I ever made because it's so much fun. You meet so many cool people. Like I got to meet all you guys, get to meet other wonderful creators. We've had the likes of high rollers like Radar Channel and stuff like that. There's some incredible creators out there. So get involved.
That is fantastic advice. I couldn't help think, the first bit of advice, don't be shy, and the last, have fun. Don't be shy about having fun, about embracing everything about it.
Yeah.
You will walk away happy, I guarantee it.
We've all played more on characters. Like, you know, I played a kobold that was obsessed with fire so much that he burnt half his body off. You know,
and it's that thing of, you know, don't be shy about having fun. I think that's, and I don't get to enough of them. And I think that's one thing that's great about, like, say you go to a con or something, you know, just any, you know, nerds, and it's like you get there and it's like people just being so it's a place where they are comfortable just being completely open about just loving the thing that they love and not worrying about it being cringe or whatever, you know, because I get that
you're with your
like,
people.
I hear myself talking sometimes to my poor long-suffering girlfriend, you know, about something, and I'm like, you know. Also, actually, on that, sort of on that point, was anybody else imagining Ryan just sort of like waking up bleary-eyed with a dictaphone, being just like, a dragon applies for planning permission for a new conservatory?
Yeah.
At some point, I will release recordings, and everyone will hear how bad they are.
I hope there was a moment where you went back to sleep and left it recording, so we can hear the sleep talking.
Oh yeah. No.
You should release them all, mix them all, and then anytime a player casts like dissonant whispers, just play a mix of your thoughts at night.
Nice.
That might come in handy for Candela Obscura, some just frightening dream babbling.
Maybe I could just like use it as like vicious mockery or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I think what's become very clear over the last while the interview is that you guys are experts at this, whether it's starting campaigns or, well, let's say, look, when I say experts, dab hands at having fun at the table, not being shy, and throwing yourself in. Experts at having fun like this. But even after all the games you have been playing, after whether it's a DM or player, Ben, I might ask you this: is there anything, especially with starting a new campaign, is there anything that surprised you, or that even, you know, you would think maybe after all this time it's all paint by numbers? But was there anything that came in as something new or something that unusual that shocked you?
I think with I'm trying to think with world building, you know, not as much. I never really, you know, as much as I might do it, even just as a hobby, I like to world build. I always get kind of too stuck into it, you know. And even where I was thinking, I had this this campaign coming up, and I was like, well, it's, you know, well, I just use the same, like kind of like my homebrew world, you know, it's easy. I have all of that info kind of in my head, you know. But as started focusing on a small region that I wanted to set it in, it can't help myself expanding it out, and you start thinking more and more. There was an interesting thing with this, is the next campaign I'm doing is the Shadow Dark system, and there's a much greater emphasis on darkness and light. So, you know, a bit of a meme with particularly 5e D&D, or somebody that, you know, the GM says, oh, you know, it's dark, and then, you know, 9 million players at the table. It's just like, I have dark vision, you know, dark vision. Nobody has dark vision. Only the monsters can see in the dark in Shadow Dark, and so torches are very important. And then I got this idea for the campaign, and I realized after I'd kind of developed it a bit, and I'd already sort of fallen in love with the idea for this campaign, this adventure, that I was like a lot of this takes place, like a lot of it will take place over ground, you know, where the system is very well suited to like dungeon crawls. And I won't say too much, just because it will spoil something. But you know, it's like, well, how can I bring that the Shadow Dark, you know, above ground? And then that was a surprising thing, that it like something mechanical, a mechanical feature of the system or a constraint, led to this development in the world building and the kind of the overarching story of the campaign. Which I mean, that in itself was surprising and interesting, that it's like I had to adapt it to that system, and it's made for what I hope is going to be a really cool moment. I think that's probably been the most surprising thing with this one.
I have so much more I want to ask, but that is such an incredible cliffhanger.
I don't want to say it, like
of where to find you guys next. So before I do say goodbye for now, where can people find you? And then I suppose in general, don't spoil anything in that, Ben. That sounds incredible. But in general, what is next for the Emerald Collective? I haven't picked anyone, but I'll go back to you, Dave. Yeah.
Podcasts. So I'm currently mixing our first Call of Cthulhu podcast, season 1, No Silver Linings. I think it's 15 episodes. And then we've already started recording season 2. So we'll be throwing those out in nice bite-size 45-minute to 1 hour chunks every week or 2 weeks. I'm not sure. We haven't really sort of settled on that yet. And then I'll be doing another 5e campaign, long form. I don't know why I keep saying yes, but I did. So that will be called Starless Twilight. That will be coming out, I think, probably after season 1. I'm not sure. We'll figure out the release sort of schedule. But yeah, so podcasts mainly. And I think we're going to do a few more bits and pieces. Mark is like prolific. Mark Corrigan, who did Vibrance, prolific. Like, he's just churning out these Call of Cthulhu stories. They're up and drive through RPG, if you don't mind me giving him a plug.
No, really.
Shullock Games, they are absolutely fantastic. And he's a great GM or keeper in Call of Cthulhu. And yeah, so podcasts, and more streams 4 nights a week on Twitch.
See, Mark's been doing such a good job with the Call of Cthulhu as well. It's actually inspired me to write my own one, which we are going to be recording as well at some point.
Yeah.
Because that kind of dark gothic horror, that's my jam all over. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to terrorizing them.
Yeah.
It is a system I've yet to play, but like the whispers on the side of my mind, I keep hearing of games. I'm like, okay, how do I get involved in this? If only I could figure out how to have more time in the day and week.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've done our show.
Yes, yeah, please do. Well, you'll find me in the Discord. If we've done our jobs right, there'll be links to absolutely everything that the guys have ever in chat, and also in the description if you're watching this on VOD. Thank you so much for joining us. Back to you guys in studio.
And we're back. That's us. We're back.
Welcome back. If you want to see more, I definitely wasn't unprepared. If you want to see more of the Emerald Collective, you can catch them streaming on Twitch. I know they would say that, a couple of nights a week, but pretty much anytime I log on, they're streaming something. In fact, they're streaming right now, and that's where we're going to head over to after this show. So if you stick around for another half an hour-ish, we'll be writing the Emerald Collective. Dave is DMing tonight his campaign. So you can see it all live in action. You can see them put into practical use the tips they were theorizing about just there. But before that, we should continue with this show.
We should. Should we? We should.
I don't know. Pretty much nailed it. Can we quit it?
Yeah, we're done. We're done. Boom. Mic drop out. Bye. Before we get into the I think our next section, there is something that Ryan said in that interview that I love. I think it's brilliant. That idea of, and there was so much great advice from Dave, and it's awful to say other Ben, but Ben, if I say Ben, you're like, oh yeah, I did give great advice. No, but Emerald Collective Ben, or other Ben as we know him, depending on if we're in Ben's company, this Ben's company. But that idea of just having fun, and there is so much pressure about starting something new. Like, I've never played this system, I've never played this campaign, I've never run this adventure, I don't know anything about this world. And you can get bogged down in all those details, and you can get bogged down in all that stress. And you have to remember, at the end of the day, it is you and a bunch of friends getting together to have some fun. And you will learn the rules along the way, and you'll find out about the world along the way, and you can make it up as you go along. But that idea of having fun, that old campaign, new campaign, tomorrow's campaign, that should be the core thing, that it's always about fun.
Yeah.
He says, knowing full well that he traumatizes his players. But
that's fun.
That's fun for me.
It's fun.
It is.
We're not going to yuck on other people's fun, but that's fun.
You say that with such conviction, my friend.
Yeah, it's been fun. Yeah, it's fun. It is. No, Ben, it is fun. It is fun. Like, it is though. Yeah. It is fun.
Could you please look at the camera directly and say that? Because
yes, it's fun.
It's an experience. You might have seen just before the interview with Emerald Collective that we put in a prompt in chat, and we would love we can still use them. We want to help you kind of kick the ball down the road. We want you to kick a campaign off. We want you to procrastinate. We want you to procrastinate. That's tomorrow's
lesson 1: scheduling. It's not going to happen this Saturday.
Lesson 2: planning. Not going to happen until an hour beforehand. But we want to help you maybe get started with a new campaign. And this is a shared creative safe space. So any of the ideas, anything that we mention, any of the prompts, any of those bits and pieces, take them, use them, have fun with them, make them your own thing. But we are looking for prompts for a new campaign. It can be a sentence, it could be a mission, it could be a single word, but prompts that could spark inspiration, challenge us to come up with a new campaign. And there were some really good ideas there. And Ben and I are going to get to that by Declan George. Yes, yeah, okay, I'll take. So I'm Hecklin. I'm Regina George. Apparently, I've only one person.
Declan Glass.
Oh, yes. Oh, it gets me every time. Every time.
If you're watching on the VOD, some of the prompts so far, and some of the ones we'll be kind of musing on over a little break, are a kobold searching for their mother. So just, it can be as simple as, conflict needing a resolution. We've a political campaign set in a matriarchal society. So just, you could be like a setting that you could do in, or the words elements. And we've been kind of thinking of them. I would put 5 gold, 5 of my own characters' gold, which I don't have, on the chance that myself and Declan have interpreted all of those differently. So that's the lovely thing about prompts, and the lovely thing about DMing something yourself is like your spin will make it unique. So like steal,
Yep.
and put it through you, and it will be new.
Yep, 100%. That's like take from everything, use everything, and that is a really fun way to segue to our next section, Ben. And we are all about inspiration and taking inspiration from the things around us. And this time, for the first episode, I get to maybe talk about some things that have inspired me, and just to see. So you know this isn't scripted. Ben doesn't know what I'm going to be talking about. I did mention to him that it's something from where I come from, something I'm watching, and something that I listened to recently that have all kind of helped me. So in our take a point of inspiration, we are going to take you over, and I'm going to start with our first, and it is a song from a musical that Ben put me on. In a big way, and I love it so much. Our Lady of the Underground from Hadestown, and I've been listening to that soundtrack for the better part of, I'd say, 18 months now, and for anyone that's not familiar with Hadestown, it is a musical inspired by the Greek tragedy of Eurydice and his muse, and I'm enthralled with it. I absolutely love, and it's that moment, by the way, while we're on stream right now, that I'm like, what is the name of his wife? What is the name of his wife?
Oh, Persephone.
Yeah.
By name. That's me.
Oh, it's like I'm there. I'm
a very good Broadway performer.
I'm as anyone that's ever been in any of my games or played alongside me, I have a real passion for female and femme characters and their stories, their experiences, and as somebody who feels more femme than anything else, I've always really drawn to that experience, and it's always been in my writing, even in my early days in college with poetry and stuff like that. And this is one of my favorite songs because we see such a different side to this character, a side that in the first act is very much it's hinted at, but now we get to see this underbelly to her as she is in the underground. And I love this idea of this character being portrayed a certain way, and that we get hints of who they might be or who they might be struggling with. And Persephone is that wonderfully beautiful and tragic character that is caught, like the rest of them, mortal and otherwise, caught in just this wheel of fate. And who is she? Who does she want to be? And who can she be? Is just something that I'm really, really drawn to. And that has been a big inspiration for me for one of my NPCs over the last season in Romancing the Dungeon in particular. And now definitely coming into season 3, that particular song and that setting, I am 100% drawing direct influence from it. And I've promised myself that there is going to be, and this might be a slight spoiler, so I apologize. There's definitely going to be some sort of cabaret, burlesque, Cirque du Soleil-esque setting in season 3. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'm very much drawn to that right now. Second point of inspiration I am taking from is from somewhere I come from. And one of my favorite things to do as a DM is I love making NPCs. I love creating these little characters that maybe Our Lady of the Underground, a big one. But I love those little NPCs that pop up and disappear. And the just leaving the audience with leaving the players with that, I'm sorry, who are you? And the audience with, this is phenomenal. And maybe they transfer into something else. And that image, that photograph from Images Limerick is actually a photograph from a small little shop that is in my hometown. Where I come from, and I don't want to get into the proprietor and her story, but I've always she's a bit of a legend where I come from, and the shopkeepers that I'm going to maybe introducing is the word I'll use to my players over the next couple of episodes and recordings and games and sessions is going to be very much based on this idea of someone whose whole life is their shop. It's not just their business, it is their identity. And I have that already in the likes of Jim Jam Flim Flam. In Romancing the Dungeon, I have that with Mrs. Wall in Beyond Horizon's Edge, that like their shop is as much a part of them, but I want this idea of like everything about it, like their name is above the door, all of these bits and pieces I want to come back to. And then my last piece of inspiration is an anime I'm watching at the moment, and I don't know if anybody is particularly familiar with this. It's an image taken from one of the latest episodes. It's not a spoiler, but it's taken from one of the latest episodes. And I am not. I'm not very big into. I'm not very big into combat. I play it. I run it. I like it to be very dramatic. But I marvel at DMs who can sit there and can. They know the system, they know the mechanics, they know everything. And Ben from Emerald Collective is someone I had the pleasure of getting to play in a game where he DM'd, and just marvel at the way he constructed the battle. And running battles, running dungeons is not something that I'm necessarily, as a dungeon master, I feel strongest at. I'll run the battle, but it'll be dramatic. We're going to the dungeon, but it will be silly. And this particular series that I'm watching, Free Ren Beyond Journey's End, has shown me or given me inspiration as to how I might take what I like to do and add to this. So this is a wonderful, wonderful setting that has been a big source for me and just kind of helped me map the dungeon out. This isn't always going to be and this is going to make me do this, and it's going to be a spoiler for this. Sometimes inspiration it just helps me figure things out. It helps me kind of go, I can do the thing I like to do, and I can add this element to it. And this particular arc that the series is on, wonderful. Really, really, really wonderful exploration of like dungeons and combat and the party. So I'm very, very excited. And I totally recommend checking it out. If you haven't seen Free Ren, I totally recommend checking that out. So those are my inspiration points. And I am happy for Ben and anybody in chat to take them and to make them their own. And Ben's going to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Right now, do we have time right now, or do you want me to come back with it later? Do you want me to spend a week on it? I can do a quick top line.
Give us your top line. Give us your top line.
Something that came up with just even listening to, like, the whole purpose of that segment, I suppose, is to say that, like, you don't have to pore over tomes of books and rules and stuff to find inspiration for a game. And one of the questions in chat actually was like the pros and cons of homebrew. One of the reasons I like homebrew is that you can kind of just take stuff from the real world and weave it in. And it's okay if you've just watched Kill Bill and your next section, like your next session is full of Kill Bill stuff. That's like, they're some of the best games because they come from a place of love and a place of excitement. And I think when you're excited as a DM, your players can feel that too. Which is why finding your inspiration is so important. When we were talking about Persephone and her role as the sort of bringer of spring when she leaves the underworld as the cycles of seasons continue, and then the kind of remove, or not like, doesn't bring winter, but her absence leads to winter, made me start thinking of how to do things in the Feywild differently, where like it's perpetually a season or it's perpetually, a sort of setting. And that song in particular shows you an emotional state, which I thought was quite interesting. And I was like, what if the Feywild was depressed? What if the Feywild was drunk? What if the Feywild was annoyed that you didn't appreciate it? And was like, I've got this beautiful, oversaturated field of flowers, but no, it's not for you. You don't get that. That's mine. You don't get to take this thing that makes me and hide it away from the world. So I don't know what I'll do with that yet, but I'm sure the next time we kind of enter into that realm, I'll start playing not with nature in the external sense, but kind of the nature of like man and the nature of man in a kind of old scientific sense, but the nature of people, and have a Feywild that reacts to emotions, not to. And I think it already does. Emotions are heightened. That's kind of what the people are, but the world sometimes doesn't balance that. So just ramping that up a little bit seems like a lovely thing to do. I'm not going to build on your advice about NPCs. It's the perfect thing to do. Find real people, lovingly imitate them, and you will get NPCs that people love and care about, and that your players will want to protect because they can see how precious they are. And equally, if there are people that cause you problems in life and you're finding it hard to get your players to dislike some people or kind of cop that they're the villain, those behaviors are dislikable for a reason. And they're shared by many people, so maybe it's not one person. So I am thinking of those elements and as a reminder to like ask your DM about their NPCs. Chances are they might have put some care and attention into them. If they've just pulled them out, like you can kind of tell, like, who's that guy? It's like, Paul. Yeah, don't ask any questions, DMs, unless you're like kind of making them squirm. And battle scenes are so hard. I play Theater of the Mind. It's almost like two different games. When people play maps, it's like we got the RP and then the map comes out, and it's like, okay, different game. But finding scenes and finding how they make you feel, or seeing what they focus on, I find cinematography and how a director of photography like works. That's the way into battle scenes, like sweeping through stuff. It gives sense of scale and then sense of like action and an emergency and like sort of intenseness. So watch action scenes. You'll see what people focus on, and don't always. It reminded me, like, it inspired me not to always be like 23 hit, 17 miss. Like, what kind of miss is it? Is it a miss because the player stepped out of the way because they got their shield up in time? Like, AC is, this is talking specifically about D&D, but like AC is just a signifier that it missed, but not like how. A miss can still be dramatic in the sense that it can be like, if it's close, it's like they slam that axe down. You feel it crunch against your shield. You take no but damage, but your feet almost lose grip in the ground. And that kind of description really gets players riled up. They're like, I'm gonna get this guy, because it's not just like 17 miss. 23 hit. Does a 35 hit? Like, yes. And it does. And I love being that guy at the table. But I love feeling like righteously just in getting that win as well, all the more. And that's a shared experience. Like that can be, as a player, that can be how you describe it. If your DM's comfortable with you kind of stepping into that narrative space. But yeah, that's all really, really good stuff to think about. And on the next show, is it my turn to bring some things into sort of be a show-y segment, or if it's going to be but I think, I'll bring some inspiration to the table. It's a high bar to follow. Mine will be like, here's some lint I found.
I'm inspired.
But thank you so much, Declan, for bringing us through that as well, because I sometimes feel hearing you speak about your process is inspiring in and of itself. So chat to DMs, chat to players, chat to people out there. Do that.
I think we might take a quick break, but I mean, do we have time? Because we've gone over time, Ben. That thing we said we wouldn't do is we've gone over time. So we might not take a break. We might just, if you're okay with it, we might just power through.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll power through. Sorry. But just very quickly before we move into kind of talking about that campaign prompt that we were asking for, and there were some really great suggestions. Lapin Hero makes the point of, this is one I try to be super aware of, but I worry there's a line to cross in how I describe how incredibly epic my character is definitely being. And yeah, there is that thing at the table where it's in your head and the DM has describing it for you and you see it a certain way and you want it to be a certain way. My thing that I've noticed lately that I really like doing is and it's not always the killing blow. It's I have set the stage. I have given you the prompts. I have given you the hook. Take it, and please make it your own. And the best advice I can give from my experience as a DM is, and Ben has already said it, talk to your dungeon master, talk to your game master, and say, you do a really good job at describing things and setting things up, and it would be nice for us to maybe in your world add our flavor, add our taste, add our moment. And it's a conversation. It is a conversation to have, and that is it. That's all there is to it.
And also, here's a sneaky little goblin trick if you're a limelight stealer like me. Before you describe how cool you're being, pretend you've been inspired by something someone else has done. It's like seeing that character leap across, and then you can go straight into it. That's all you need to do. That's a dirty little goblin trick you can use at the table. You can be like, seeing how cool they were, I'm going to do something cool.
Wait a
Everyone
second.
will forgive you. Yeah, and they won't notice it.
I love how we're balancing this with talk to your DM, steal the limelight.
Here's how to get all the glory for yourself.
Great, you've just inspired another dirty little goblin.
Yes, rise, my goblin hood, rise.
So we're not going to take a break. We're going to power through. Talk to your DM about stealing the limelight. And there we have found our avatar. Balance has been brought once more to Ben and Declan on a roll. We got some really cool prompts, and
yes.
I've made some notes. I was doing some homework. But Ben, do you want to tell us about the campaign that based on? Was it did you get something for all of them? Did you crash them together? Did you just take a word? What's your new campaign process?
Yeah, so I was looking at kobolds searching for their mother, a political campaign, matriarchal, and that I kind of I took them together, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, what if what if missing mothers is because they're called to a higher purpose? If there's this matriarchal society, and then when you become a mother, your role isn't like we're dealing in like a bird society. You know, the ones that are kick them out of the nest. It's like you're on your own. So like that's how like care or attention, whether it's mums or dads or any of those things, but that's how this world operates in my head. And then we had elements, and I was just like, okay, well, elements is like earth, fire, water, but there's also that big chart of elements. You know, the scientific ones that everyone knows: antimony, arsenic, aluminum, selenium, all those.
Keep going.
Charmander, Bulbasaur.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Which I said to Declan while we were chatting as the Emerald Collective interview was happening, it's like, I've gone goofy on this, I think, which is this young kobold, or this party of younger adventurers, needs to collect the elements. So they have to go and find hydrogen, they go find oxygen. Like, I made Pokemon the game. But it's a scientific sort of Pokemon Ghostbusters. I'm seeing it as like a one-shot kind of thing. You have to go around, because ultimately searching for, and then eventually you get to your Elite Four, which is all your moms who operate in this matriarchal political society, who you then have to battle in like emotional ways, like why, where were you, and why, and potentially strip it down. But there was
I'm sorry.
I'm just going
to jump in here with gotta catalog them all. I'm sorry, I can't. That's gotta catalog them all.
Yeah, gotta catalog them all, and then somewhere in the middle, assassinate the vampire crime boss.
Yes,
I like. That's one of those prompts that
the beach episode.
You're like, I'm not prompted to think of anything new. It's just, let's just do that. So that's kind of where I went, but I think that's very. I went with like plot and story as opposed to world. Like, the world isn't really built out there yet, and it's because I've built worlds before and thrown players into them, and they've been like, I don't know, and it's hard to get them to kind of care about the world that you've made and they can play in. So I've learned kind of over a couple of years to let the world be inspired by your players and to build it based on their kind of wants and needs, even if it's not vocalized. If they're just kind of like, if they say something that just twigs something, you're like, okay, I'm going to bring that into the world, and they will feel more attachment to it. So I purposely didn't go into sort of the homebrew of it all, which is also helpful because, you know, when you don't place 10s places, they can move. But I went into story. I see it as a kind of goofy one-shot, but one of those goofy one-shots that everyone finishes playing and goes, we felt really serious about this, let's keep it going. So the length is sort of, I could see it being like a good 8-parter, with a little bit of vampire crime boss assassination in the middle, because they do have some of the elements. The element of surprise, for one.
Capes, the element of capes.
Capes, the element of capes, the element of darkness.
Blood.
But yes, yeah, they've iron and anything else.
Oh yeah, iron.
Blood.
Oh shit, that was the thing.
Yes.
that whole element.
That's where I went with it. But hopefully, if anyone in chat was doing a similar exercise, please let us know what you thought of. It's good for me to go first because I did think that we might have gone different directions, and Goofy's often.
We did.
Yeah,
we totally did. And like, even down to your process, I was like, I did the opposite. I love giving my world to my players after I have bones on it, and then going, this is the world, this is what we're going to play in. Now please add to it. Make this your playground as much as it is mine. Let us share it. So again, I took elements, the kobold and the matriarchy straight away, and I went, okay, how do I take all three of these and make it into a campaign? And I start with my world. I always do. I don't know. I don't know why. But it's just kind of where I kind of go to, and I see this. So in my head, the campaign centers around the idea of the elements are like somewhat similar. Our mothers. So there is the mother of oceans, the mother of mountains, the mother of the sky, the mother of the beyond, the mother of dreams, the mother of meadows. All these mothers, and again, the belief that the pantheon is composed of goddesses. When, again, like every good story passed down through word of mouth, the stories change, the stories shift, and we give power to those. So what may have been a force of magic, arcana, chaos, who knows? something has shifted dramatically in this world, and the Queen of, as she's known now in my head for this campaign, the Queen of Mountains, an ancient green dragon, has been slain, and her death has resulted in severe earthquakes and volcanic activity, avalanches, so on and so forth. And we're starting to see this thing of like, oh, there's something wrong in the world, but the people that live in it we like all of us, we tend to go around, with la 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 la, everything's great. And lo and behold, and in my head, I also had quite a young group of adventurers who stumble onto this kobold who has become separated from the Queen of the Mountains. He is one of the only mother quakes and eruptions. We have it. And they start with that simple task. It's that hook of, you've got to return this kobold to his mother. Only for the party to realize that she has been murdered. The Mother of Mountains has been murdered. Something has taken one of the core elements of this world and destroyed it. And now you have your party going from, we're just going to return this little kid up the mountains that are kind of dangerous right now, but hell, we're adventurers and this is what we do. And the campaign begins with that simple, let's go do something small. And now it begins to snowball into something else. And that campaign of who is attacking these ephemeral, ethereal, ancient beings. Is it a vampire crime boss? And there's definitely a vampire crime. I also did the same as you. One of them is definitely involved, and it's a vampire crime boss, and we have to stop them. I was like, in goes the vampire crime boss. But that's, I started with that world, and then how do I get the party invested in my world? And this idea of, and I love that process of starting in that space, building enough of it to go, I like this world, I like my sandbox, I like this space that we could be in, and then giving it over to the players to be like, now please throw in your bits, throw in your villages, throw in your whimsy and wonder and inspiration, and let me then take all that and just muddy it up for you, and let's play in it.
It's beginning to become very clear to me why when I DM, the cliffhangers are like fart jokes, and when you DM, it's like a mom has died. And you're left on this amazing emotional cliffhanger that you're like, what does that mean? How do we do anything about this? It's incredible. That's amazing. That was lovely ideas that it's like that in and of itself is inspiring for new stuff, and inspires even character building in a way, which I know we'll probably get onto on the next On A Roll. But in a world like that, suddenly, like, having a familiar, or like having a thing you care for, or having a thing you sort of bring with you and raise, takes on a new, more important meaning. And I know I'm being very literal and very kind of like normative about the mother in this sense. But what I mean by that is just like care and fostering in the kind of Mother Earth sense, that it's like things can grow, and like planting a seed of something and like nurturing something, and like, and wanting sort of advancement for something. And you could see NPCs being built from this, whose sole like order or feeling or mission in life is to come across the party and go, you're here and we need to get you there. Like it's our job to, through whatever means necessary, whether it's tough love, whether it's just like a safe place to land, whether it's every sense and every aspect of care, to get you to a better place. even if it feels like we're not going to. And those kind of helpful NPCs really excite me. Although experience has told me the party are like, get away from me, loser, you're too clingy. What? Well, there's a trick here. You must be some sort of vampire crime boss.
Get him.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that I have a tendency to go into the drama and the bigness, but Ben, I love that you can see the same prompts as me, and you just think of this wonderfully friendly, fun, engaging, just and I know like you know, we know each other a couple of years now, and I've watched Homebrew Quest, and I've seen you on D8 Dungeon Drive, and like I know you would take that, and you were saying there, oh, I'll make a fart joke and I'll do this, and yeah, you'll make a fart joke, but it'll be one of the most endearing and sweet, and it'll be that thing that gives that NPC or that character that moment of like, I'm gonna make a fart joke, but it's gonna be at my expense, so that you know that you did a great thing. Whereas I'll make a fart joke, and something terrible happened outside while you were doing that.
And meanwhile, while you're dicking around, there's earthquakes everywhere. Yeah, you best believe the party are going to be looking after this fart and bringing it around like a little cute. It's Tootsie.
Kill Tootsie. But I hope that has for anybody that is following along, anyone that's watching, and you've seen those prompts or you were listening to Ben and I, we would love if you would share those with us. What you think, what your thoughts were, where you're kind of going with it. And everyone's now making fun of me for apparently being a drama DM, which is wonderful. I'm the evil one. You're the lovely wholesome one. But
it's all a facade.
If you have been following along and you have been engaging with the prompts, please drop over to our Discord server. We're in the middle of organizing our next date night, which is a community event that we organize once a month to get together. There's no streaming, there's no nothing. We just hang out. We play games together. There was a Stardew Valley farm. I ran a one-shot. Next week, I'm thinking of just doing some board games and chilling out and just chatting. So this is a space where we would love for your questions, your feedback, your thoughts, your processes. And Ben, earlier on, you know that producer you meant, that researcher, producer. Sorry, they've also been promoted.
Yes, yeah.
Not the producer.
Oh yeah, obviously they're being promoted to producer. Yeah. Just in.
Just in. We found actually we've somebody needs a bit of help, and they have written to us for some advice. So I think, why don't we hear them out? Let's listen to their agony rant, and then we can give. That's a cat's tail blocking the camera. That is there it goes. Thank you.
Whoa, those transitions feel so real.
And we're gonna cut to our agony aunt.
Dear Agony Aunt, I'm in desperate need of some guidance for my table and our new campaign. I've been diligently preparing an epic story for my group of adventurers, filled with intricate plots, mysterious characters, and challenging encounters. However, there's a twist in the tale. My players seem to have their own idea about where the story should go, and they're not following the script I've meticulously molded. I've dropped subtle hints and created hooks to guide them back on track, but they seem to be more interested in pursuing side quests and derailing the main plot. Why stop the BBEG when you could befriend another impromptu NPC that I've had to pull out of my proverbial butt? Because they seem insistent to ignore the storyline and the breadcrumbs I'm using to try to lure them back. I've put so much effort into this campaign, and I really want them to experience the tale I've envisioned. What should I do to gently steer them back on course without stifling their creativity? I don't want to ruin the fun, but I also want them to appreciate the story I've worked so hard to create. Sincerely, a writer at their wit's end.
So Ben, what did you make of that?
I'm so sorry, I was on my phone.
Really? Really?
Yeah, well, I thought the sections were like I could just like I wasn't talking, so I wasn't interested.
Oh, okay. It's not about me, so it doesn't matter. You know, that's what I think that's what our dear listener, watcher, reader was actually kind of talking about. That how do I get my party invested? How do I get my party to want to play in my story? I mean, we've already kind of talked about, you know, giving them something to care about. And giving them something to work towards and have. But are they having fun?
Oh,
are they enjoying what they're doing? And like if it takes them a couple of sessions, and we'll be talking about schedule conflicts another time on Ben and Declan on a roll. Trust me, we'll be talking about it. And I'll be name dropping like nobody's business. I have receipts.
And now to the liars.
Yeah. But they if they care about it, if they're having fun rather, then you're doing your job as a DM. And you from my perspective, and there were comments that, you know, did Declan write this agony ant? And people seem to think that Declan gets mad that the players don't. Declan has a story, like players don't play the story. I've started to not overwrite my stories. I've started to just remember that my job as the DM isn't to dictate or railroad anybody into anything. That's not going to be fun for the players. That's not going to be fun for me, because if they're not having fun and they're not happy, then I'm not going to be happy. And I've started to kind of let myself sit back and also have fun as the DM. Just have fun. Ryan has said it. I'm saying it. Ben will say it, hopefully, when he gets off his phone. No,
it's hard work.
Sorry, Ben will text it
Make
into
it
the group chat.
Yeah, I'll leave you a 17-minute voice note about it.
Okay, fair enough. Can't wait. But what do you think? But what do you do in a situation where the players aren't playing the campaign and they're off befriending NPCs?
Yeah, I think it's especially in that instance, I would say the players are playing the campaign. They are playing the game. Like if they're engaged in the world and they're talking to an NPC, that's them playing. That's not them messing around on their phone or zoning out when it's not their turn, or like getting up, making snacks really loudly, coming back and being like, "Someone catch me up." That's take that NPC and smush them into your plot. So you needed them to hear about something. This NPC is going to tell them about it. You needed them to go somewhere because they care. The NPC's the thing that goes missing and they chase after. You needed them to not trust so easily. The NPC betrays them. So use the tools that they give you to weave your story around it. And I would say there's like, they often say if you want to dictate a story, go write a book. Don't play a tabletop game. And that could lead you to advice where you're trying not to railroad at all. Players, they won't tell you this. They love to know where they're going. We don't like plot twists as much as you think. It's the same in movies. Like if something happens completely out of the blue, like suspense and anticipation is better than surprise. So I bring it back to Hades 10. I went to see it last week. I know Orpheus is turning around. I know they're not making it out. Spoiler alert for something thousands of years old. And I can tell you that the kind of that on stage just felt so gripping, because I'm like, I know how this ends and I know it has to go that way. And that is only through railroading. But there's a difference between blanket no's. No, that doesn't exist. No, you can't do that. Like, no, that's not the way this works. Let the dice be the no. And railroading, which is like, where can I find this? Don't be like, well, look for it with the dice. It's like, well, a 3. Guess you don't get it. It's like, oh, you know, just over there. Like, make having fun easy on yourself and on them, because everyone has a bad dice day. And there's nothing like feeling like, ugh, I suck. And not only does my character suck, but I feel that personally. And if you see a player feeling that, if they're getting disconnected because of that, like make them hero for the day, like next session. Like it's okay to like give them an easy win, and help them out a little bit. So that's what I do to kind of keep people engaged. And it's important to be aware that there's different levels of engagement. If someone needs a fidget spinner or a fidget cube to be there, totally fine. If someone needs to doodle, but they are engaged, totally fine. You will have different levels of attention spans and ability to focus over long periods because these games are long. Take breaks when you need them, and be kind and set up a safe net for players not to pay attention if they need to for a little bit. Because I think there's a difference between not paying attention and not having fun. And ideally you get a balance of both, but it's okay if you don't. Some people will kind of slip out. Just have open conversations with them. Let them know, hey, it's okay to be on your phone looking up spells and stuff. It's not so okay when like it's rude or disrespectful to another player who's trying to engage with you.
Again, you'll notice that we kind of keep circling back to kind of 3 key points in this whole new beginnings, new campaigns. Take everything that you like and you enjoy and make it your own and work on it and work with it. Listen and talk and communicate with your table. A player talks to the DM as much as the DM talks to the player, and like that. And there will be an episode where Ben and I are going to be talking about prepping for a session and session zeros and table etiquette and all that kind of stuff. But talk to each other. We're all getting together. We're all going to spend the next 2, 3, 4, 9 hours together in a shared hobby, in a shared space, sharing a story. Have to talk to each other. And as somebody who does struggle with kind of attention, and even as a DM, sometimes I find myself kind of going, something else over there that I can use and I want to get to, but I'm going to go to that now, but trying to work towards it. And I can't stress how important those conversations are over the campaign, over the adventure, over the one shot, on those little tea breaks that you might take with, hey, are you having fun? Are you okay? Am I going too heavy with my descriptions? Hey, you'll notice I'm on my phone quite a bit, but it's because it helps me kind of keep track of what I can do, and I'm trying to think ahead and have that dialogue. That is all it's about. And then last but not least, this is meant to be fun. This isn't for, again, Ben, unless you're making millions that you haven't told me about in unlicensed agreements with, several publishers and partners out there.
I'm not at liberty to say.
Okay. I mean, that's a very flash-looking guitar behind you that you didn't have.
Yeah. Some guy called Paul used to own it. He played in the 60s. I don't know. I use it to pick my teeth.
This isn't something that any of us are doing to make bank with. It's a labor of love, and that's for people who are streaming. That's for people who are doing podcasts. For you, if you're not streaming, if you're not making a podcast, and it's just you and your friends getting together to have a good time, that's central to all this, is having a good time and making sure that everybody, the DM, the players, are having a good time.
Sounds easy when you put it like that, huh?
Yeah.
I think it's clear we barely scratched the surface on new beginnings. Am I right in thinking that when we come back in 2 weeks' time, we're going to kind of pick up this conversation, continue new beginnings? But if we were a little DM heavy this week, we'll be more player heavy next time. There is a great piece of advice in chat from Deranged Rhino, which is, I have a safety word that all my players know. If there's something too much in the description or triggering, they can just drop that word in the game and I'll move on. And that's like, you can have a safety word for triggers like that. I'm thinking now I might introduce a safety word for fun.
Yeah.
It's like bore, and you're like, okay, got it. Or like energy, and it's like, cool, got it. Like, because energies we'll do this. So ways that you can, we do silly things in Romancing Dungeon, like shaking it out to get the energy up in the room. And it works.
Yep.
No one's watching, so you can do it. You don't feel dance like no one's watching. Shake it out. Like
live, laugh,
people are
love
listening.
is what we're saying. That's our final advice. Live, laugh, love.
But we're going to be doing this every second Thursday so if there is something you want us to talk about, we have sort of loose themes in mind over the next couple of shows, but we're happy to derail that for something you want to hear. So if you have topics, if you have even just questions, jump over into the Discord, drop them in. We'll as we build up that bank of questions, we'll probably start doing kind of community corkboard stuff where we go to the questions to just dip in if it's related to a theme, even if it's not, just as a nice little breather. So anything you want us to talk about within reason, we will talk about within reason.
And reasonably.
Yes. Well, one of us will. The other one will toot around and tell you to be a dirty little spotlight stealing goblin. But I won't tell you which one.
Which one is that? But like that, if you are a TTRPG content creator, if you run a stream, if you make a podcast, if you write, if you make maps, if you are a cosplayer, and you have a passion for tabletop role playing, and you want to talk about it, then we want to talk to you about it. So you can catch us at D8 Dungeon on all of the social media platforms. You can drop us an email, d8dungeon@gmail.com. Drop into the Discord server and you can message me or Ben and say, hey, I caught the show and I do this. Can I talk about it? I'd love to talk about it. And we love to. There's a reason Ben and I have a talk show now called Ben and Declan On A Roll. You'll notice that what was meant to be a 60-minute program has gone over by nearly 20 minutes because we love to talk about this stuff. And we want this to be as much about a conversation with you joining us in chat and you watching at home, you watching this on a VOD, and you using this space to talk about the things that you love, new beginnings and all. And I think, I do think we've kind of talked.
I think we've done it. One very quick thing. We're going to be at VentureCon this weekend. So if you're watching live and you see these faces, come talk to us. If everything that Declan just said, it feels right up your alley, you don't even have to message us. You can grab us by the shoulders and say it to our faces. I will be there with little mics and a camera as well to pick up like small little interviews or even just to kind of like capture what's going on. So if you want that anywhere, please do find me. I'll be kind of a little roving reporter for On A Roll while I'm there. If that video ever gets seen, it means I did a good job. I'm not a journalist. I don't know how this works. So yes, do grab us. This is your open invitation to tackle us to the ground if you see us in person with questions.
Yes, questions.
And quests.
And quests. Yes, we love going on quests. But I'm going to be there not filming. I'm running 3 games, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday, and I am hosting a creative writing storytelling workshop on Saturday morning and a TTRPG safety tools and session 0 workshop on Sunday. We also, D8 Dungeon, will have a stall there with some limited edition merch. There is a Flim Flam Jim Jam inspired Lucky Dip for charity, and all funds raised will be going to the Athenry Adventurers Club. We will have stickers, we will have art prints, key rings, bottle openers, with D8 Dungeon and some of our favorite quotes and stuff plastered across everything. And Amber, who plays Hephaestus from Romancing the Dungeon, is going to be manning the stall over the 2 days. So if you're not going to tackle Ben and I with questions, then you can tackle Amber with donations.
Yes.
Or buy some merch for us. That would be lovely.
Yeah. Good way to spot us because we'll probably be in D8 t-shirts.
All of it, and stickers.
Yeah, and stickers. It'll be head to toe stickers. I'll be the sticker man. Even when I'm running games, look for the sticker man. And on panels, I'm running games and panels. I trust you to find me. I'm not going to tell you which ones. You'll find me.
Hello, is this Ben? No. Hello, is this Ben?
No. No. Yeah, opening up random hotel rooms. 7th floor, room 13.
Got it. That is all we have time for this evening. That's actually more time than we had this evening.
Yeah, that's 20 minutes more than we had time for this evening.
Yes. But while Ben takes us out and I get ready to raid, and we would love if you'd stay because we're going to hop over and we're going to raid the Emerald Collective. They are live streaming right now. I believe Dave is DMing. And we're going to drop in.
It's a Saffron Saga, I believe.
Yes.
But I might be wrong about that. Yes.
So stick around. I'm going to get the raid going. Ben is going to see us out. I'm going to struggle with Twitch in the background. So Ben, show them the door. Or
yeah, I was just going to do the weather, I suppose.
Yeah.
So as you can see, there's some cold fronts coming in across Faerun. That isn't from blizzards. That is from an ice dragon that's been let loose across the lands. Please do stay indoors. Don't take unnecessary journeys. The good news is if you're on the hot belt down below, the lava river has been quelled by a group of adventurers, but it has led to an uprising in magma creatures who are, for the first time in their lives, seeing the sunlight and wanting to get to it, because it seems like the hottest place they can be. And if you're planning on taking the family out this weekend, then why don't you head all the way over to Athenry for AdventureCon? I actually don't think it's in Athenry. I think it's in the Lochray Hotel Resort and Spa. Head to Athenry on your way to the Lochray Resort and Hotel, where you will find us running games, chatting to other creators. You'll find way more than us too. So if you hate us, we're not the only option there.
Yeah, if you hated us,
you'll find
you're
way
like,
better people.
The Emerald Collective, they seem class. They're there as well. And
they're there.
Heartfire Tales are there, and
yes.
Sorcery and Shenanigans are there. I think Tall Nerd Apollo is there.
Yes.
There's some, and then there's all these other amazing, cool tabletop merch.
If you want to wipe out a good section of the Irish scene, go there.
Okay, and on that note, while we set up the raid, I'm going to take Ben off air before he cites anything else.
I don't know, my goblins have plans now.
Okay. Goodbye, good evening, good tomorrow, good day, good afternoon.
Good morning, everyone.